over to Mathieu, who's going to do the first 20 minutes, and then we have like drinks and a bit of food left afterwards, and time for networking. So yeah, enjoy.
While everything's getting set up, thank you very much. I want to thank Mitte and Samsung Next to have me tonight, and very happy to see all of you here. Wasn't expecting so much people. Obviously, apparently hardware is a topic that more people are interested in. I'd like to start with a question before I jump into this. Like, how much of you are working in a hardware company, not necessarily startup? Like, all right, that's good. So pretty good. So the title of the presentation, or you've seen that on the slide, was like hardware startup, online versus offline, how to close the gap. Pretty presumptuous title. I don't have the magic recipe. I cannot say that we at UNU close the gap or we manage very efficiently to manage both in online and offline. However, what I would like to do tonight is to guide you through the story of our company and a few decisions we've made along the way in both those different areas, online and offline, and to expose you why we made those decisions in order to maybe make you reflect if you want to do the same in your company, if it's something usable or actually you have a completely different opinion. And if you do, I would be very happy to discuss about that after the presentation. So to move further, like I would save you the normal pitch. I'm not here to pitch you our company, etc. But what we're doing at UNU, we've been focusing on those problems that you see here, the problem of urban mobility. We say our starting point is to say urban mobility is broken today. It's slow, it's complicated, it's unappealing, it's dirty, it's expensive. I spare you the details. How do we solve that? In our company, is basically we say we are we created that company to enable every people to experience the full potential of urban life. This is our vision. How do we do it? We create the best mobility solution. What is it the best for us? It's affordable, it's fast, it's effortless, it's appealing, it's clean. That's basically the framework of what we're doing. When we started, we basically look at those different aspect and say, okay, what's the best way to move around the city in an affordable, fast, effortless, appealing, clean way. We very rapidly come to scooter, or the product we didn't know anything about. Like none of us co-founder or whatsoever drove a scooter before. We were not like mechanic freak or whatsoever. We just like, hey, it just makes sense. And then we came to the point to say, what's the problem with e-scooter? Why there is no e-scooter on the market at the moment? That was 6 years ago. Now in Berlin you have quite a lot. Let's move to the next one. And then we realized, okay, there's a bunch of major problems around this. The scooter on the market, they're not easy to use. Charging infrastructure, they're not appealing. All the electric mobility products 6 years ago, except Tesla, that was managing to do something quite attractive. That was all like super green, lithium-ion, very technically distributed and sold, and basically it was interesting nobody, and it was expensive. It was systematically double the price as a petrol scooter alternative. So of course nobody's buy it. It's a very niche market for a few ecological, motivated people that say, yes, I want an electric scooter, whatever the price, whatever the pain, whatever the style, let's just do it. It's not working for the mass market. So we looked at this and we said, okay, if we manage to solve these three issues, we have the concept that makes sense to build a company upon. And we actually, from the start, look at this vision and this mobility topic from a broader perspective from the start. And from this broader perspective, we say, okay, we're starting and we're getting into a market that is prone to a very big transformation at the moment. The mobility market is going to be transformed by three mega trends. The first one is electric mobility, the second one is mobility as a service, the third one is autonomous driving. This is not a typical UNU slide. You find that into every consultancy person that look at mobility, as well as every big corporate from BMW to VW. We all think the same things. Those three mega trends will transform the mobility space, and that's already started. Our approach to it, however, is slightly different to everyone in the market. We say we're gonna focus one trend at a time, and we're gonna try to build the best product for each trend and really take the time to understand what's the problem here. It's not just a hype, car sharing, autonomous driving, electric mobility, let's put everything into the basket and let's make something, but every time look at that in a more granular level and always start with the customer, try to understand the problem. And so we started with the 1.0, how we call them, Uno scooter. Let's go to the next one. And we've been building that product. This is an electric scooter that is built with a portable battery that you can take out of the scooter and charge it every socket. So you're solving the problem of charging infrastructure. It has this beautiful retro style that you think probably about the old Vespa looking at it. You can customize it, you can choose your color, your seat leather, and it's going to be delivered in front of your door. So very big focus on the customization and the user experience around this. And all of that for a starting price below 2,000 euro, which is basically an affordable price because it's matching the price of petrol scooter. And basically where I would like to spend time on the presentation today is like, how did we make it? Because I guess this is really the point that is important, interesting for you as hardware founders or people working in the hardware companies. Like, okay, cool, that looks nice on the slide, but how did you make it? So if you see on the top, like this project was about like 1.5 years of development and about 300k to give you a scale. First of all, I was going to start with like, how did we make it? So you have to imagine the situation with 3 guys coming out of the university. We never drove a scooter before. We have no idea how the scooter is built. And so basically the first logic was, all right, we're not gonna reinvent the wheel. We need to find something we can build upon. And I think this is the first learning I'd like to share today is like, we all have like great ideas, we all want to change the world, we all think we're gonna do things better than the other one. But sometimes you have to stay humble and try to figure out like what is really important now for our stage with the amount of knowledge and the amount of capital that I have. In this case it was we need to be able to bring a product as soon as possible to the market in a lean way to ensure, to prove that we're able to ship and that we have the first customer and then get traction and then develop the company further. So basically the first thing we went to China, basically, where there are electric scooters everywhere at every corner. We've been screening the market and looking for a base we could build our product around, build our product upon. So you would be surprised, not so much anymore if I tell you this, but basically the chassis the scooter is built upon and even the plastic component, most of them are actually off-the-shelf component that you can buy in China at every corner. So, however, what you shouldn't litigate upon, these are the parts of the product that are really making the difference, where your customer experience is directly impacted from that, or what makes your product different than another product. You of course don't want to sell the same Chinese scooter or the same copy of a product that you find somewhere else. So basically where we put our focus on is on everything that is visual, touchable, or having an impact on the customer experience. Everything that you don't see is off the shelves. Everything that you see and you touch, this has been custom designed. Because for us at least, it's maybe not the case in your business, in your industry, this is what makes the difference. We wanted to differentiate ourselves into the perception, the feeling, the way the product came to the market. So basically, for example, this whole portable battery system, there was no electric scooter with it in the past. We didn't invent it, by the way. It was already existing in the e-bike segment. It just happened that we took that idea, transformed it for the e-scooter segment. It appears that at exactly that point in time the technology was ready, the lithium-ion cell that we were using were having the right energy density, and it was possible to do a portable pack that weighs 9 kilograms that can still bring you with a scooter 50 kilometer range. So this is basically what we've been doing, and very rapidly we've been building that first scooter by dismantling an existing product and rebuilding upon with the component that we believe have enough value to build upon. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The second thing is, okay, so we have this scooter, we're producing it. Now we say, how do you make it to bring it to the same level of price of a petrol scooter? Because obviously the production costs are higher. Basically everything that is in an electric scooter is the same thing as a petrol scooter, but you have to pay the battery on top of that. And the battery is about 50% of the cost. So obviously the production costs are higher than a petrol scooter. And how our competitors, and in the past and still today do it, you have double the cost at the entry of the value chain, therefore you have double the cost at the end for the end customer. That's as simple as that. We say if we want to make electric scooter a real success in a product for the mass market, we need to find a way to bring the price tag to the same price as a petrol scooter, so that people don't have to think anymore and they say, yeah, it's good looking, it's easy to use, same price, I buy an electric scooter, I don't buy a petrol scooter. How did we do that? We look basically, and I'd like to, maybe the second learning I'd like to share with you today, don't only focus on the product, look at your business model all around, all the time. We focus on the whole value chain, how people, our competitors as well, the whole automotive industry was built. Basically how it's built, huge forecast, mass production, sold to distributor, to importer first, then to distributor, then to car dealers, then to the customers. You have plenty of intermediary people that are actually bringing a vehicle from the factory to the end customers, and all of these people are taking the margin. So you say if we cannot reduce the cost of the production cost, our production costs are higher, and we don't want to litigate on the quality on the product, we need to cut costs somewhere else. So basically we rethink the way we distribute the product. We took the decision to sell directly online. So in that sense, we can cut about like 30% margin that all these distributors are taking, and therefore bring the price tag of an electric scooter, to the same level of a petrol scooter. This doesn't come necessarily just like, okay, put a website online and people will buy your product. So I'd like to bring your attention to the things that were difficult about that. And here we come in this online, offline. You put a website online, and that was a bet to believe that people will buy a 2,000 euro plus product online. Yes, e-commerce is booming. Yes, everybody is buying online. But what are we buying online? Services, t-shirts, sneakers, and stuff. But like, you don't necessarily buy every day 2,000 euro plus items online. So that was a bet, and you would be surprised that actually about 50% of our customers are simply going online and buying it without never seeing the product. That was the first learning for us, a good one. However, you would say that what about the other 50%? How do you do with them? And indeed, that's a fact. We have the other 50% of our customers who wants to see the product, wants to test drive it, wants to touch it, want to see this is real, this startup in Berlin that is doing electric scooter before they give 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 euro away for a product, for a vehicle. So here basically we always had the focus to say we need to find a way to scale our business in a lean way. You know, like this whole thing, okay, we need to stay lean, we need to say asset light. It's not very much going well with the hardware, but we always think about that since the beginning. To think, okay, we need to be able to scale the business by keeping our costs low and not scaling the costs with the business as well. So about this distribution point, we say, okay, then obviously we won't be able to scale as a pure internet company, as an e-commerce company, just scale with like online marketing and hitting our numbers and not having the burden of having the people that want to test drive the scooter. However, instead of like going back and say, okay, then we have to go with dealers, we have to go with shops and people taking their margin on, we went a little bit more creative in a way, and we say, okay, how can we offer our users this physical experience without having the cost of like fixed assets? What we did, we built up a program, it's called the UNU Pioneers. These are freelance people that are only paid on commissions, that have a scooter for us. The only cost that we have is to enable them to have a scooter. They can drive the scooter 24/7, also for a private reason. This is our gift to them. They get a training for us. What's the product? How to talk about it? How to represent it? And people go for us online on our website, register for a test ride, and then they get a call from, hey, that's Jack from Berlin. I need you want to try the product? Where can we meet? To your favorite coffee, okay, I come tomorrow at 6 p.m. and the people our pioneers go to the customers or to the potential customers with the scooter, give the key in exchange from the ID, explain them what it's all about, incorporate the brand also very much properly. The guy is doing or the girl is doing a test ride around the block, and then in the evening come back on the website, buy scooters, and our pioneer get a commission for that. So that's an idea I'd like to share with you. I'm not saying that's working for all of your business, but it's possible to create offline experiences without having the burden or the cost of a fixed store, a fixed retail partner. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Maybe we can go to the next slide. That's not the most sexy one, but I'd like to basically show you that in every aspect of our value chain, we're always starting with an online approach. So like, can we do that online? Can we do that in a digital way? And if we can't, we always try to find a partner that is the strongest in this field, that we can build upon. That was the same mindset as with the scooter back then. We build a product upon an existing product. We build operations upon a strong network. Take repair and maintenance. We're building a vehicle. Sometimes we get problem, unfortunately. Sometimes people call you and say, my scooter doesn't work. So how do we do with that? Same thing. You cannot do that just with your website and saying like, yeah, try again. Or so basically, what we do is, indeed we do the interface, the control of the touch point with the customer. We do that ourselves, online, optimize customer service with like the right approach. And in the background, who's doing the repair, the spare part logistics, etc. We choose the best partner. We work with Bosch Car Service in this case, and we have access to the full network of Bosch Car Service, 1,000 service network that are repairing for us the scooter of our customers. And then how do we again merge this online and offline part of we having like all these garages distributed all over Germany, all over France, all over the Netherlands, which are the 3 countries where we're active. Basically, again here we built an online interface. We have been building our own UNU garage portal, which is basically an online tool where the garages are logging in, putting their problem upon, ordering spare parts, and we extract all those data, and all this interaction is made online. So we always start with the online part, start with what we can do ourselves, and if we realize there are people out there that are doing things much better than us, we're building partnership with these people, and we're building an online interface to deal with these people, to be able to deal at scale. Because you don't want basically the next 5 years to have to go with call and email with every garages that you have all over the globe. So basically it's what you see here, same thing, and I will then move to the next one. I have to be careful with the time. So here you have a quick overview of all the partners we're working with, because really the approach that we have with UNU, when we talk about UNU, we place ourselves as with a central company that is orchestrating all this ecosystem, but to be able to cover the full value chain of an automotive company with 100 people here in Berlin, you need to have like strong partners all over the place. And in every areas where we believe that people are doing the job much better than us, we're working with them, we're syncing with them with like online digital portal or with frame agreements. And this is how we do our business. Next. Yeah, this was pretty much what I was explaining before. It's another way to highlight you basically our marketing funnel. We are doing a lot of online marketing. We are bringing interest to our customers to our website, and then it's looping from a pure online journey to an offline part for 50% of our customers that are going to do a test ride, and then they're coming back on the website, customize their scooter, get their scooter delivered directly in front of their door. Everything is included. We do all the paperwork, license plate, insurance, everything is here. You just need to start to drive. We're very focused always on the customer experience. This is where we make the difference again. And then if you have any problem, we're doing customer service, and we have Bosch Car Service Network for the repair. Maybe we go to the next one. Exactly. And so, just to wrap it up here, because I see that the time is running. this focus on customer experience, focus on the customer, focus on the touch point with the customer, focus on the interfaces between your company and the partners you're working with in order to provide an holistic service to an holistic customer experience to your customer that allow us to reach actually quite interesting metrics. I won't go through everything. The one is really striking me as well. This is the third one. We have about 77% of our customers that never drove a scooter before. The same way that when we started, we never drove a scooter before. And this show, I like to talk about that metric because for us, this is really to show that if you challenge the status quo and you think the things differently starting from the people, you build up a product that is easy to use, convenient, appealing, affordable, and that you understand and you focus on the whole experience around your product from purchase, trying, repairing, maintaining, and get all this touch point right. You can create your market, you can address a completely new range of people, and you can build up a brand that take hopefully a substantial position in the market in the long run. Thank you very much.
After our panel, but now let's move on to our panel. Let's welcome Karan, Heather, and also Alexis to the stage. So, I think these figures sitting in front of you don't need further introduction, but just in case we want to be thorough, maybe each of our panelists can just speak a few words about yourself, what you do, and
Sure.
introduce yourself.
I'm holding the microphone, so I think that means I go first. My name is Heather Corcoran, and I oversee Kickstarter's international design and technology communities. So I work specifically with hardware startups, makers, product designers, just everybody who's making a product on Kickstarter. I'm based in London, and as I say, I work primarily in Europe, but also oversee our Asia community. I just got back from China, actually, so I'm very jet lagged still. That's what I do.
Thank you. I'm Karan, I'm co-founder and CMO of Mitte. My background has mostly been in hardware and e-commerce space. I've worked with companies like OnePlus and Flipkart, which is one of the biggest e-commerce companies from India. And now I'm here trying to build Mitte.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexis. I'm the co-founder and president of Hardware Club. We're a community-based venture firm dedicated to hardware. So in short and simple, we do two things. We, on one side, I've started a community of hardware startups, including Mitte and Unu and other exciting German companies, that now gathers about 500 startups in about 40 countries. We help those startups with resources on manufacturing, distribution, corporate partnerships. So we basically try to provide an ecosystem that helps them grow. That's the first thing. And on the other side, we have a fund that's $50 million, through which we invest in startups inside our community. So far, we've done about 30 investments. Average check size is about $500,000. We've done about half of our investments in the US, half in Europe. I was in London this morning, so not so jet lagged.
Great, and I'm Clara. I work with Mitte on marketing, and very happy to have worked with both Heather and Alexi over the past couple of years at Mitte. So to start off the panel, word on the street from Silicon Valley is that hardware is hard. I think we're not new to this saying, but a more recent saying is that hardware is hard, but easier than ever. So maybe directing this question at Karan, what do you think that is?
I think hardware industry is actually going through it's in the midst of change at the moment. If you look 5 or 10 years ago, if you were to bring a product to the market, it would potentially take you, 5 to 10 years before you can bring a product in the hands of your users. And in that process, you would potentially spend millions of dollars in R&D, and then potentially setting up distribution. And that has changed completely. I mean, that has changed completely now, and now you can actually do quick prototyping. You can do quick validation of your target market by doing a crowdfunding campaign. You can use contract manufacturers to build the product, and then potentially you can bypass setting up the whole distribution channel by going direct to consumer. And I think that has made a huge impact. I mean, 5 or 10 years ago you couldn't do that, and at that time you would spend millions of dollars before you would find out, if anybody even wants your product. And I think that dynamic has made a very big impact, and that's why I think it's much easier to do hardware now, even though it's difficult.
Right, elaborating a bit.
That I think crowdfunding and Kickstarter can do is like, again, building that first fan so you get an insight into not just like your product when it's ready, but also the whole process. And through that, you get this really deep connection. So yeah, oftentimes I'll say like, what is the level of community that you can support and like give a great experience to, because that's going to be the fundamental kind of baseline of your company. But I think, yeah, a lot of people come and think that they need to raise those big numbers in order to show that they're successful, so that, people like Alexi will, invest in them because they've proven themselves. But I think that's not, I think that's not true, yeah.
Speaking about building communities and proving traction using a crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter, so Heather, could you share some tips about how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's no silver bullet. So basically, like, if you're launching a campaign on Kickstarter, there's really like 3 or 4 different ways that you're going to reach your funding goal. The first is the Kickstarter community itself. So just by being on Kickstarter, in the design and technology space, you might get like 20 to 30% of your pledges might come just from us. Then you have your community. So that's essentially like your mailing list, your that you've built up in advance, doing that pre-launch work to build community and momentum in advance. And really, that is like, people then often ask me like, how do you do that? You have to earn each one of those one by one. Like, I can't tell you one way to do it. You do your trade fairs, you do your demos, your meetups. You publish, just again, having a great landing page. It's just one by one over time, you're going to build your mailing list. So yeah, the Kickstarter community, your mailing list, press and blogs. You hope that you're going to have some kind of press strategy when you launch that might drive some pledges to your campaign. It's always a bit of a wild card because you never know if press are going to write about it, and if they do, whether it's going to convert. And then the fourth is if you choose to do it like digital advertising while your campaign is live. So these are really like the 3 or 4 ways, but I think that the hardest one there is like your community, that like pre-launch community. And again, I can't give you one like growth hack way that you do that.
Yeah, definitely. Right, as a follow-up to what you have said, coming in as a VCs and investors perspective, when you're looking at hardware companies to invest in, what are some key areas that you're looking at?
Well, I mean, mobility is a great example of where there's an incredible transformation, a lot of money going from cars to everything electric to all of the other means of transportation, including scooters, bikes. We're actually an investor in a bike company called Cowboy that's also doing really well. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement, probably too much, around e-scooters. I don't know how many you have in Berlin, but we have probably 9 or 10 shared dockless scooter companies now in Paris, which is probably 5 too much or 6 too much, I don't know. But yeah, so there's a lot of excitement around mobility. We're really excited about Industry 4.0. We've actually seen great companies in Germany. That's another space. We're really excited about anything connected health. We think I have a personal thesis around what I call augmented health, which are actually products that are not only gathering data from your body, but also being able to activate certain reactions, natural reactions in your body. We've got a great example of an investment we made in France. But again, that'd be too long. We're really interested in surgical robots. I mean, then I'm really going to tell you all of the things I like. But I think overall, the one thing, quite often we don't necessarily think that way. We think about, are you solving a problem? A lot of hardware products, and it used to be even more true in the past than it is today, but we're really starting with the idea of, I'm building this product and I'm going to try to sell, rather than starting with the problem. and trying to build a solution that's usually more of a hardware-enabled product. So there's still a hardware kind of platform, but on top of that, you're building services and you're building a true solution. And I think quite often to VCs, that is more exciting because they see this more as a full stack business than a pure hardware business, which is easily hardly defendable, and that's going to be hard to scale. So I think that part, being able to make sure that you just don't, it's not just about building hardware, it's about building a full stack solution.